Before starting this video, I would like to give a disclaimer, which is what I did in this video is an experiment, and honestly, I would do this with caution because I did discover an issue which I later discuss in the video and I show how to fix. So if you do decide to do what I do in this video, please watch the whole video so that way you guys can see what I've done. Or you can also go to the chapter to see how I fix the issue. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy the video. Hey guys, it's Julia here, and I'm back with another experiment. Now, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but a while back I actually did like a Windows 10 downgrade experiment where I tried to downgrade to like older versions of 10 or downgrade 11 to 10 and all that stuff. However, I'm back to demonstrate it again because recently I had discovered a tool. Now, this tool is called the up-down tool, and it says it's an automated tool to upgrade or downgrade a Windows 10 LTSC 2021 without losing files, settings, programs, or drivers. And it does mention, oh, are you dissatisfied with Windows 11? Basically saying that this can downgrade you to Windows 10 LTSC from 11. So I thought, why not try this tool? And they do provide an ISO, which we'll be trying in this video. But it does mention that it will work and that you don't lose files. So why not give it a shot? So in this video, I'm going to try it with this Windows 11 VM that I have, which this is a Windows 11 Pro 24H2 VM because this for some reason did not offer 25H2. I don't know why, but it just never did. So I guess we'll just, use this VM for the video. So I'm going to mount our ISO, which I need to actually tell it to find. Which you guys will see I have up-down tool LTSC v3, which I downloaded a while back because I actually heard about this a while ago and I wanted to make a video on it, so I downloaded it. And I'm gonna test it now. So I did that. I might have to connect it to the VM, and we're gonna see how this works. Now, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go into it and you're supposed to run this downgrade.bat file and then click yes, and it's supposed to just be fully automated and downgrade it. Now, obviously, I don't know how this works or if it'll work, but I thought I'd, try it out. So that's why I have this wonderful Windows 11 VM, which doesn't really have anything on it, but I could probably copy something over. Which, by the way, you guys can see it's actually on the making sure you're ready to install screen. Let me just copy over some random wallpaper. Let's actually set it on the VM just to have a different wallpaper on here while it's upgrading, just to see if it will actually keep it. We'll make it pink. Yeah, this VM is running Windows 11, which I hate the new context menu, by the way. I think it's awful. I think it's terrible, and I hate it. And I don't understand why, Microsoft decides to keep using it. I'm gonna be honest, I can see why a lot of people don't like Windows 11. A lot of people seem to have issues with it. A lot of people seem to say that it's unstable and buggy and etc. Which this VM is Windows 11. So I guess, we'll see what happens when you try to upgrade this, which I don't honestly know if this is gonna work or not, but I'm basically doing downgrade experiment again, from back then. I know I did this a couple times back in 2022, I think, and maybe 2023, I don't know. I think it was 2022 where I was doing this, and I actually I think changed to DLL or something. I'm not sure how this program does it, but after this video, after this does its thing, I can look into it and tell you guys how this actually works and if I recommend it or not, because honestly, this is the first time I've actually properly used this tool. I will say though, one thing, I did try it on a Windows 11 26H1 VM and it blue screened, so it doesn't work on that. But I just want to see if it works on a 24H2 VM, because this is, close to the current, because, the latest is 25H2, but that's just an enablant. This is not an enablant, so I guess we'll see what happens. So let's just wait. Okay, so you guys will see it's actually installing now. and it's all automated, so it skips all of the screens after you run that downgrade.bat, and it just starts upgrading, well, downgrading technically, but it says it's supposed to keep your stuff. We'll see what happens on this VM. I know I don't have much installed on it, but if it does work, I'll try it again with 25H2, and I'll show it with stuff on it, and we'll see what that looks like. But if this does work, I can imagine it works on 24H2 and 25H2 for sure. Don't know about older builds, probably, but 26H1 I can confirm it does not work. But anyways, let's let this install. Okay, I was not paying attention because I had went to do something, but working on updates 30%. Is this actually working? Like, there's no way it's actually working. 48, 60, it went back to 57. What? Okay, that's just freaking weird. Why would it do that? 64, 65, oh my god, it's actually upgrading. 71, 75, it just rebooted again. And you notice how it says working on updates instead of it saying like installing Windows or whatever. That's because this is actually doing a feature upgrade. So this is actually upgrading the machine. Yeah, it looks like I'm actually having success when I did this with a Windows 11 24H2 VM, so I guess I just can't use like anything newer. I mean, it might work on 25H2, probably will, just not 26H1 or Insider. I wouldn't expect this to work on Insider, honestly. 96, 98, 100. Oh my goodness, did it actually work? There's no freaking way that this actually works. Like, I don't know exactly how this tool does it, but like I said, we'll look into it and we'll figure out how it actually works because I have no idea. And there we go. So, oh wow, yeah, it's on Windows 10 now. And it's doing the high thing as well. So this actually did upgrade. Hi, we got some updates for your PC. Yeah, you got some great updates for my computer. You got us Windows 10. Like, I'd say that's a pretty good update, you know? I'd love to have Windows 10. You know, a lot of people say actually Windows 10 has been a lot better compared to Windows 11 for some people. Some people have just been saying, oh, Windows 11 is a dumpster fire. Almost there. Obviously, they have everything turned off already. Perfect. And yeah, that notification's a little brick. Your PC needs to restart to finish. EFI firmware from host. What the world? Okay. So, there's already a blank icon. Whatever that is. Okay. That's not what I wanted. This PC. And just to show you guys, go to our Explore properties, Windows 10, and we go to our Windows.old Windows, and we go to our Explore properties here. This is 11, so it did indeed work. It did upgrade us, as you can see. System, about, and we are on Windows 10 IoT Enterprise LTSC, which obviously this is .1288, so you're going to want to run Windows Update, because that is an update from 2021, and that's probably going to be insecure. And also from my experience, oh, that's broken. From my experience, .1288 was really buggy and had problems for me, and it felt slower, and after running updates, it would be faster. It's also why I made a more up-to-date LTSC ISO. I think these are UWP apps that we had on 11. We can just unpin them, because the thing is that LTSC doesn't have the Microsoft Store. It doesn't have all those apps. In fact, it seems like it removed all the UWPs on upgrade, which I think is actually pretty cool. It actually removed all the bloatware. Maybe it's like set to do that, but it removed everything. And I feel like I know why. Because when I did the downgrade experiment in the past, UWP apps would always break. So maybe they just made it to where it removes all of them to be safe. Which, by the way, if you do a command, you can add the Microsoft Store back. I'll put it on the screen, ws-reset-i, and that will give you back the Microsoft Store. And then if you find a download link to the app installer, or you find the package, you can install the app installer, which I recommend getting the link from another computer on the Microsoft Store, getting the share link, and then running that to install the app installer, and then you're good to go. And you have the Microsoft Store. Now the app installer is for like WinGet, as well as like if you're installing packages manually. So actually, yeah, you are going to need a link, because if you get a package, you actually need the app installer to install it. But yeah, this did actually work. Obviously, I did it on a virtual machine. This isn't like a real system. Well, it's emulating a real system, but the upgrade process with the up-down tool does indeed work. So like, if you do want to go back to Windows 10, this is an option. But don't expect it to 100% work, and don't expect it to not have problems, because this install was fairly stock and clean already, so it worked better. But if you have a system with a lot of stuff on it, I don't know how well this tool will work. So proceed with caution if you do decide to use this up-down tool, but it does work. And I believe it did mention too that you can use it to upgrade to LTSC from normal 10 as well. If you, like, for example, wanted to go to LTSC, but you can't because normally it doesn't let you upgrade to LTSC, it's also an option too. Or that one tool I talked about in my EOL video also works. Yeah, let's just let this update. Well, this is unfortunate. Failed to update. Let's try it again, I guess. Anyways, guys, I finally got it to update. It got stuck at installing 0% for a few hours, and then I ended up rebooting it, and it got stuck on updates are underway for a while, and then I force reset it and rechecked for updates, and it all of a sudden started working again. However, I've came to some discoveries that you guys will see, because I decided to attempt this experiment again on a 25H2 VM. So here's the video of that, and I would highly recommend watching this if you are going to attempt to do this, because you might have broken Windows updates if you don't. So let's get started. Alright guys, I am back with another virtual machine, which actually has a lot more stuff on it compared to the other one. If I go to System and I scroll down and I go to About, you'll also see that we're running Windows 11 Pro version 25H2, so this is the latest version of Windows 11 as of recording this video. But you'll also see something else, which is we have all these apps installed, including UWP apps, because I didn't remove anything. And you guys will see that I even installed Translucent TB, which if I go down here, it's right here, and this allows you to make the taskbar transparent and, do other settings. So I installed my own app on here and kept the pre-installed apps to see if it would remove all of them still, or if it would only remove the ones the system came with. And if I go to Control Panel and I go to Uninstall Program, I installed some apps on here too, like normal programs and stuff like that. And not only that, I actually have some files on this virtual machine, so that way we can see if it does keep all the files. I know last time I only had an image, but this time I wanted to step it up a notch and actually include some files. So I already have the ISO, prepped. I just have to connect it to the virtual machine. And then we're going to go back and we're going to double click our downgrade.bat, click yes on the UAC, and then from here, we're just going to let it run. So we're going to let it upgrade this VM or downgrade this VM or whatever, see if it keeps all our programs, see if it keeps all our UWP apps, and also see if our files are still there, because this is a properly set up VM on the latest version, which I should have done from the start, but, it's good to demonstrate, I guess, with both versions, and also on an install that's clean and an install that maybe has a bit more stuff. So, anywho, I'm going to time-lapse now, and you guys are going to watch it upgrade. Alright guys, you guys could see that it actually did work. It's asking us for our privacy settings, and I agreed to it or whatever. And we're back, and we actually do have our app still. The start menu opens. That's a good sign. We only have Edge there. It does look like all our UWPs were wiped, and it's opening Discord despite me having it disabled at startup. Because for some reason, when you upgrade to .1288, it re-enables your startup apps, and I've had that problem in the past when I would do like an in-place upgrade, when my Windows 10 was messing up and I in-placed it, it would actually re-enable every startup app, which is really annoying, but I believe after running Windows Update it would disable them again, but I just decided to disable them myself. Our font is also gone, and it was using the Windows Terminal font, so I guess because Terminal's gone, it doesn't have that set. So, also blank icon, probably from the Microsoft Store. Oh no, this was Copilot, and this is the Microsoft Store, so just gotta unpin those. And then obviously, we gotta go, and we gotta check our Windows updates. So, while this is checking, did it keep our stuff? So, our documents are there, downloads, music, pictures, videos. Yep, it kept all our files. And Windows is doing updates. Now, as you know, it errored the first time last time for some reason. So, I want to see if it just messed up that time or if it's going to error again. So, I'm going to stop the video so that way it runs faster. And we're going to actually see if this updates successfully. But so far, it's looking so good. I mean, it does remove UWP apps, but, you know, those can be easily reinstalled, and I guess, you know, it prevents issues. So yeah, let's just let this update. Okay, so the VM actually does fail to update with this error still, so it does appear if you do the up-down tool, Windows Update will fail, but we're going to look at the log because it should be doing a restore health. See Windows logs, and then we go to CBS. And if I open up this log in Notepad++, which let me switch this to dark mode, and I scroll all the way down, you guys will see that it is doing an automatic repair to repair the corruption from doing this method. So guys, I found the error, and it says failed to stage execution chain, and it gives the error invalid data. So I guess when doing this, it had some sort of problem over here, if I could see. So yeah, it failed right here because it failed to add some printing thing, it looks like. I don't know why, but maybe when you do this upgrade thing, it just happens to break something. And then, as you guys will see before I scroll down, it says somewhere over here, installation failed and store corruption mark found, attempt auto corruption repair. And this basically does a DISM restore health, which will repair any corruption, which I'm just going to wait for this to do its thing. And if I click back on it and I do this again, you guys will see that it's actually going and running all this right now. So right now it is currently downloading the repair files to fix this, which there's a command I'm going to run right now to be able to show this in live in action. Okay, so I got the command. I'm going to run a PowerShell as admin. CMD would also work too, but this is the command that I'm going to run, and that'll take me to the very bottom of the log as well. So now we can actually watch it and see what it does. So I'm going to let this run and repair itself. You have no idea how long this took. This took probably over an hour just to run this, and you can see how sped up it is, and you guys can see the time rapidly changing as this is running. Like, this just took way too long, and I didn't expect it to take as long as it did. So you guys are seeing the pain and torture I had to go through just trying to get this to update. But honestly, for people watching this and actually do this upgrade method, just run DISM restore health and SFC scan now before you actually check for Windows updates, because that seems to be a way to just completely avoid the situation to begin with, as SFC and DISM seem to not like you once an update fails and it takes forever and locks up. But without further ado, let's actually go and see the results of this. So guys, all of that just to repair one corruption. Yeah, that went for a really long time, almost an hour. And all it did was repair one corruption. I don't know what took so long, but apparently it does say there was a CSI payload corruption. So hopefully it will actually update now. So I'm going to retry Windows Update, and I guess we will have a verbose Windows Update going. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so it seems like it's stuck right now. If I scroll up and we view this, I think it's stuck because after fixing the one thing, I think it probably needs to reboot because it's saying, oh, failed to extract, and we're just seeing some weird errors here, and it's stuck at 0% like it was the last time. So when this happens, you need to reboot the machine, and most likely it's going to get stuck on getting Windows ready, so I'm going to have to force reset it again if it does, and then we recheck for updates, and it should actually install properly this time. Yeah, it's doing updates are underway, so I'll give it a few minutes, but if it's still stuck, I'm gonna force reboot it. Okay, it's been like 5 to 10 minutes. This is clearly not gonna do anything, so I'm just gonna send a force reset to the virtual machine. And now let's go and try to reinstall the update, which, as you guys can see, it's re-downloading again, and this is installing, so it looks like rebooting did in fact work. So now let's just wait and see if this installs. I don't know what the hell is going on. I just tried to clear software distribution and Explorer crashed, and now it's being really freaking weird, and I can't seem to get this update to install. I'm trying to clear the download folder because I want to re-download the update, but it crashed Explorer last time, which it looks like it might be working this time, but I'm gonna have to stop it again, I think. It's saying it's in use. You know, we need to end, trusted installer because it's locked up, and yeah, that immediately caused it to fail, and we are going to retry updates again. I think it was locked up to the point where I needed to clear Windows Update and have it start over. So I will be honest already with me saying this, I would not recommend using this tool to upgrade because you might have major issues trying to get Windows Update to work. I somehow got it to work on the other VM, but I'm not having success on this VM. I don't know if it's because I left that VM sit for a couple hours or what, but this is just having a really hard time. So maybe this will work, maybe it won't. I could go ahead and try this again and we can see what happens, but it might get stuck again. So yeah, it got stuck again, so I decided to do something different. I decided to run a PowerShell command, which this command would run the Windows Update medic services, which I thought, you know, maybe that'll help. But fun fact, it said it was disabled, but you guys can see that some text actually came up in the CBS log, and from there I'm like, maybe it did do something, or it was just a coincidence and it happened to do something as I saw that. But the weird thing about this whole situation is that soon after it started showing that text, a ton of text will start spitting out, and it actually like started doing stuff. Now, the fun thing is that, as you guys see here, it's still at 0% installing, so it wasn't really like progressing at all, but it was doing something, which is a huge step up from before. And from that point, you guys will see that the update does end up installing, and it does end up succeeding. Now, should I have to go through all of that just to get it to update? Absolutely not. I think it's ridiculous that it took this much effort just to get this freaking thing to update. So here we go with attempt 3 and the recommended method if you're going to use this tool. So let's go. Okay, so now you're going to see me time-lapse the installation process again. This time I make it a lot quicker, however, so that way you guys don't have to wait as long, and you guys will see what I do next. So first, after it logs in, what I end up doing is running the dism scan health command because, you know, I wanted to see if it even found anything to begin with. And obviously, once it finds something, I'm going to want to do restore health. However, something interesting that happened here is that the CBS log was like gone. Like I was trying to look for it to try to find it to see how much it found, before I restored it, but it wouldn't even show. It's like it wasn't even logging, which I find really strange. Maybe it was logging somewhere else, maybe it wasn't logging at all. I have no idea, but I do end up doing a restore health, which obviously that does work. As usually, restore health does work, and it does a pretty good job at fixing corruption, which is why I said just run a restore health right away, so that way you don't have to experience all the weird issues I did. Which, by the way, I also tried looking for the log after running restore health, still couldn't find the log anywhere, still don't know why it wasn't logging. Maybe it was that other log that was in that folder, but honestly, I highly doubt it. It should be CBS, which is really strange, which you guys are now going to see what I do next. And then I run SFC afterwards because it will repair anything, and it'll grab stuff from the component store, which is what DISM repairs. And it's a good thing I did, because one of the files that SFC actually repaired was a file that DISM did repair, because as you guys saw from earlier from the other VM, it's the exact same file that it mentioned was corrupt. So essentially what you guys are going to want to do is you're going to first run a DISM scan health or restore health. I recommend just doing restore health because it's going to find something anyway, and then run the SFC, because if you run SFC first, it actually won't be able to repair because the file in the component store is also messed up. So you have to run DISM first. So essentially, that's what you guys gotta do if you do decide to end up using the up-down tool. Otherwise, it's gonna have updating issues, and yes, it could fix over time, but it's best to fix it immediately, and then reboot, and then run Windows updates again. As you guys can see, after I ran scan health again, it actually found 0 corruption. So essentially, after you upgrade, do a restore health, do an SFC, and just to be safe, if you want to do scan health to make sure it got everything, go for it, then reboot, then go to Windows Update, check for Windows updates, let Windows Update install everything, and in theory, it should not err and it should succeed. At least for me, when I did this method, it succeeded, everything updated, everything works. So yeah. Anyways, I do want to mention this. I know that this explanation and me figuring this out was kind of long, and I do apologize for that. I was just showing the process of me trying to troubleshoot this updating issue, and obviously I found the cause. By the way, sorry to interrupt, but here you can see the dots actually froze. I don't know why, but my VM did this each time, so maybe it's just part of the update process, but it isn't actually frozen as it does update successfully. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So I'm glad, so that way if people actually do upgrade or downgrade to Windows 10 with this method, they won't have broken Windows updates. So, this is quite an experiment. As you guys see, even after logging in, the startup apps still launch, so I guess you do actually have to disable the startup apps afterwards, because as I said, when you do the upgrade, it doesn't carry that over for some reason, which can be a bit annoying if you have a ton of startup apps. So keep that in mind. Even though I did find a fix for Windows Update, I still would not recommend doing this on a primary system that you actually rely on, because many things could go wrong, and who knows what's going to go on with your software, and who knows if your drivers are going to be all compatible with Windows 10, because if someone does this on a computer that's meant for Windows 11, you might actually run into problems. So, as I said before, please use this tool with caution if you're going to use it. I honestly recommend in a virtualized environment or in any other environment that you know is safe. Now, if you guys do any other experiments, like maybe trying older 11 builds or whatever, feel free to leave your comments down below on your experiences with this tool, if you've used it before, or if you end up using it, what happens. And obviously, if you guys need any help, please leave a comment below, and I'll be happy to help you. Like, if you have updating issues and this didn't work or something, I'll be glad to help you out. But worst comes to worst, just roll back, because then you'll be fine. Before wrapping this up, I looked at the downgrade.bat, and as you guys can see, it's just setup arguments, and as you can see, the sources folder was actually modified back in June 2025, and if I find our install file, which is our install.esd, you can see it is modified, along with some other files in this folder. However, most of them are still 2021, but some of these are 2025. So I will say this is a modded ISO, meaning that you can't just use your own ISO or use these commands on your own ISO. It's probably not going to work. So the only reason that this tool works is that they modded the ISO. And my guess, it probably was that file that SSC and DISM found, which allowed us to upgrade, because it said like upgrade matrix or something, so it probably was a file to allow this upgrade or something like that is my guess. Now, you guys can feel free to leave comments down below, but that's how they pulled it off. I'm pretty sure all they did was replace some files to allow the upgrade to be successful and to allow it to go through. And most likely, as I said, probably told it to not keep any of the UWP apps, which actually is a good decision, so that way it doesn't brick anything and it does work. Only thing it bricks is Windows Update, but as you guys saw, I fixed it. Anyways guys, that is gonna wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this interesting experiment and me trying to fix some of the issues. It does work. However, obviously you would have to fix Windows Update, and as I said, if you are going to do this method, definitely proceed with caution, but it is an option if you know what you're getting yourself into. I had fun doing this experiment, and I'm actually glad that someone made this possible, because this would easily allow people to downgrade back to Windows 10, and even LTSC, which still gets support until like 2032 or whatever. Anyways, I also want to wish you guys a Happy New Year, because this video is being uploaded on New Year's Day. However, it might be the next day for some, since the video does tend to go up as members first, but I really hope you guys had a great New Year's or are having a great New Year's, and I really appreciate you guys for watching my videos. In fact, I also want to thank all of my channel members, which are Samir Yoshizawa, The Full Moon, Christian1739, Overgreen, Shotagate, Ziggyos, DJ1928, Dencorn, Cyclone, Caden, Akahusky WX, Ritu, Mycrea, Chris Garrett, Sax Tech Place, Gazelle Edge, Suwon LEL, Rambos1234, CNNR GRNWD, Riley Burrell Tech, Galaxy A34, Electronic Search 3.0, Diamond JGD, along with everyone else here on this list. I really appreciate you guys' support for being channel members, especially the ones that's been here for almost the whole time. Thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. It allows me to make these amazing videos, which I do enjoy making, so thanks once again. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm glad for you guys sticking around, and also I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna try to upload in like a week again because I have another video planned. I've just got sick and had a lot going on, so I didn't upload much in December. I do apologize for that. However, I do have a lot more uploads planned and a lot of plans for this new year that you guys will see. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, Happy New Year, and bye-bye for now.